as the Reds take on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
We pick this one up in the 5th, and right away, it's a sig fig issue. Pitchcast doesn't use enough significant digits or figures, that's for broadcast expediency purposes, but in doing so, you save time while sacrificing accuracy. We're talking about 1/10 of an inch in either direction here. But because of a lack of significant figures, you get an open circle. That's what the teams see from the dugout, and they think, aha, that was supposed to be a ball.
Got him. Jack, sorry, Oral. That's all right.
There's another pitch that's extremely close to the edge. Don't worry, there will be others. About 1/3 of an inch from the boundary, but within the buffer zone. For the Reds tonight, though, De La Cruz making his MLB debut, so a lot of pressure and not much room for margins for David Bell.
Pulled into left, base hit, just to see.
Speaking of the aforementioned De La Cruz, there he is right now.
3-0. Takes a strike, 3-1. Come on back.
Sometimes that exuberant reaction can get a manager's radar going. I mean, it's a strike. And that's what's going to happen in a little while here.
Second walk of the game.
And after all those close pitches, finally a definitive ball called strike.
Boy, oh boy, Carlos Torres just keeps going out there. Room. 5th. And takes a strike.
Stevenson.
David Bell. Letting home plate umpire Carlos Torres hear it, and he's been thrown out.
Arguing balls and strikes there.
And as we saw in the Atlanta game, now we have someone who chooses a correctly officiated strike call to argue the strike zone from the dugout.
David Bell is coming out and seemingly beckoning the crew chief Ron Kulpa to join the conversation.
Can I speak to the manager? Remember when the parody Twitter account a few weeks ago, New York Porch Sports, called Aaron Boone Karen Boone? Well,
that's his 4th of this year, the 24th of his career. But I'm not sure, as fiery as the others were, if we saw this level of displayed emotion.
Y'all sure about that? Here's one from earlier this year. What do you think?
3rd time he's been ejected this season. 2nd time in this series.
He is getting his money's worth. He's letting them know.
He kind of gets close enough, but then he stays far enough apart.
Tonight, we didn't even get a money's worth. Also, Carlos Torres and David Bell have history. This is from September.
Outside corner for a strike.
And David Bell comes out of the Reds dugout, and he is yelling at our home plate umpire, Carlos Torres, and he's been ejected.
He was ready for the next one that looked like the catcher reached it all to come unglued.
Pretty accurate from LA. It's like Bell's mantra was, when in doubt, get thrown out.
And, you know, doing at this point in the game, if it does anything to make the home plate umpire adjust his strike zone, he's...
Well, I guess not.
They've gotten through 5.
Thank you.
The next inning, Alex Young, the pitcher for the Reds, wants the same expanded zone. And he gets it. Look, it's the same exact PX value. Both teams' pitchers threw. Both were called strikes. Contrary to the computer, of course.
Change. Check swing. Leadoff walk. Started a 2-out rally.
Well, that's a new one.
Easy one for Fraley.
In the first game of the road trip.
That one is about doubly outside as the .95er, so you're probably not going to expand your zone Maddox-like for that one. But here comes a pitching change, and that will be the ejection.
So that is bats. Takes ball 4.
Cruz is ready, and he gets the call.
Move. Alex Young lets the home plate umpire know of his displeasure. He's thrown out of the game, and Alex can yell back, "I've already been thrown out."
Not to worry for Cincinnati trying for another comeback win, because they get it.
McLean in the air.